Okay, hi everyone. I'm Ruth Ikegah from Nigeria, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm happy to be making this presentation with math, and yeah, excited to tell you more about badging and the process of badging.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and present. If you let me know when Ruth is in, and on the audio, and then I'll take the presentation until then. So we're talking about badging initiative. You may want to know more about the aspects of badging initiatives that we're the context that we're working in here. So badging in open source really boils down to virtual emblems for something that's done well in a certain aspect. So in this case, we're working with events. It's also been done for projects, individuals, organizations, and groups. So we have an important aspect of it is that they're effective systems of reward. They've been proven to be very effective in the past, and some of those example projects would be like the CII Core Infrastructure Initiative, the IEEE SA Open, which has a new badging initiative, and Black Duck Security. So we have a new badging initiative, or a relatively new badging initiative at this point that we built out of the CHAOSS project. I'll talk a little bit about CHAOSS here. So it was founded in 2017 in the Open Source Summit North America. It's based where I like to work and study at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. And it's focused on, so we like to think of it as if you'd like to know more about how your project is doing, how it can improve on the maturity of your project, and all kinds of aspects of your project. We have the CHAOSS project for that. We provide metrics that help you measure the health of a project. And we have many working groups. My favorite is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Working Group. We get a lot of things moved forward as far as awareness goes for diversity, equity, and inclusion in open source, primarily in projects and events. And it really comes down to that it's friendly people doing what they can to improve DEI. So moving forward from the CHAOSS project, we wanted to build a way to apply our badging metrics. We have all these, our DEI metrics. So we have all these metrics. We want to come to a conclusion where we are able to bring them to the real world. Our first question, once we had the metrics that we needed, were how do we do more with our metrics? So we kind of thought, how can we apply these in the real world? And that refined down to how do we move from awareness to application? So there is a lot of awareness in the DEI space right now. There are a lot of people that know what the problem is and are aware of how it's going now. So what we asked ourselves was, how are we going to put this out in a way that people can use it, we can use it, and improve DEI from that aspect? And our question that we came down to was, how the heck are we going to accomplish this? It really turned into a situation where we had a lot of ideas, and we had to boil them down. We had to figure out what the idea that's working for us is. So, 1 second, we lost the slides here. I'll talk about it a little bit as we go. The badging initiative kind of came to be as an idea through the CHAOSS project that when we brought it to life, it was launched in September 2020, but launched is kind of a loaded term. We had a Google Summer of Code project with two lovely people that were really helpful and instrumental in getting this launched to where it is. And they both still contribute to the project in some capacity as well. We focus on open source events, so we provide badges to events with event organizers at the forefront there. And we implemented a peer review system that's based on the Journal of Open Source Software system for open and transparent peer review. That's really important because everybody's got to have a starting point. Every project, every initiative has to have a starting point, and that's where we started. And at this point, over 40 different events have earned badges for diversity, equity, and inclusion through the CHAOSS DEI badging initiative. I'm going to talk a little bit about how the process works. So when you first begin, an event organizer fills out an application on the CHAOSS website. If you ever want to know the CHAOSS website, I have more links here soon, but it's chaos.community. 2 reviewers are assigned on a GitHub issue. So once you fill out the web application, it gets transferred to GitHub where it's turned into an issue, and we use GitHub issue tracking to manage our applications. And then the reviewers have a review checklist of all the metrics that we have applied to events, and they ask questions. They work with the applicant, and it's really a friendly process that we go through to get information from the applicant to the reviewer to the checklist, and eventually a maintainer, which in some cases is me, we generate a badge for the organizer using a badging bot. That GitHub bot it calculates all of the checkboxes that are checked and says what % of those are checked. And then the organizer accepts the badge. They can ask for more help. They can say, I'm not finished yet, and that's totally okay. And once that badge is implemented, we ask for, we put it on the README, we give them high-res versions, we give them everything they can that if they'd like to put it on their website, or if they want to talk about it. And this is where it comes to why it matters, why it's important to us that we have this badging initiative and what impact it may be having. So I'm happy to tell you the DEI components that really need attention in the open source space, the parts of diversity, equity, and inclusion in events that need the attention are going to get that attention through the DEI badging initiative. We're always adding metrics as well to find new things to give attention to, and most of our applicants will do some kind of work for their event. Change things in their event. It shows that they care if they're going to put in the effort to put in a badging application. And we have a new launch coming November 1st. I'm super excited about that. We have several new metrics that are going to be added, and we're going to have a lot more to talk about with that coming November 1st. So I'd just like to say, before we do our thanks, before we say goodbye, I'd like to have some questions and suggestions from the audience if you'd be so willing. I expected it to be a much smaller room, but if you could shout your questions or suggestions at us, we'd be glad to hear what you have to say. Okay, it looks like we've got no questions or suggestions right now. I do have some questions for you that I'd like to ask, time permitting, and it looks like we got through it pretty quickly. So my first question for you is, how have positive DEI experiences improved how you feel about events, and what kind of positive experiences have you had? Okay. I don't think I'm going to go with, I'd rather skip right to the thank yous in this section. We have some major contributors to the project. Tola, Asta, and Sala from the Summer of Code, Shoya from Season of Docs, both in 2020. And they helped us get the project off of the ground, helped us get the documentation we needed. Maintainers, we have many maintainers of the project that help keep it alive and help make sure that the process goes as smoothly as it can. And the many, many reviewers that we have in the project and in the initiative that are very instrumental to the functioning of the initiative. Local interns, volunteers, we've got all kinds of people that have been willing to contribute to the project, and I can't be thankful enough for that. It's really important for me to say that too. So as far as that goes, we have a couple links here if you'd like to apply to review for the badging initiative, or if you'd like to apply for a badge. Oh, go ahead, sorry. Thank you. We had an audience member, thank you, say that the positive DEI experiences, even at this conference, are very useful and nice to see. I think I summarized it. Yeah, and that's why we want to thank all of you as well. We thank the people that came here. In this DEI conference, you are the life of the party, and I love to say that because I really mean it. And we have a section here to apply for a review, apply for a badge if you're an event organizer who's interested in that. And we, I'd just like to thank all of you for being here. I also like to mention we got a very lucky organization name on GitHub. We got github.com/badging. So if you want to stop by and say hi, that's where we are. So thank you very much.